Rapture Adventure 82. We're in town near the site of what used to be the original old Newgate prison over there where the Toad is. The reason we're in town today is because I thought I'd do a walk around town for you, and because most of you, or a lot of you, have been following us, you'll be aware I've been doing videos about moving to the UK. And our move to the UK specifically has taken an interesting twist. So I thought I'd let you guys know what the twist was, because people who are following the UK videos will probably find it useful. You guys might find it interesting. And also, I thought that maybe I could just walk you around town for a bit as well, because people seem to like walks around town. A lot of my videos I've just walked around town randomly, showing you bits and pieces people have enjoyed. So if I can mix it with something you guys like, that's all the more better for you guys. So right, we're in Broad Street. I'm now going to turn the phone around so you don't have to keep looking at me, and you can see something more interesting, and then I'll explain what's going on. So as we rotate, there you go, see, Broad Street. This is now completely closed off to normal traffic. You're only allowed to come down here now until like 11 o'clock in the morning if you're a delivery van. No one else is allowed down here at all apart from the bus. Right, so the interesting turn. Right, so as of Tuesday this week, which would be this week being, as I'm filming this, Saturday the 26th. So Tuesday this week, pardon me, we don't have anywhere to move to. So as some of you might be aware, we were originally going to be moving over to the UK, and as part of that we'd gone over to Huddersfield, if you'd seen the part 2 of the moving to the UK videos, to look at houses. One of the houses we looked at over there, well, more than one we applied for, but one of them specifically, the lady went and she spoke at the letting agency to the landlord, who said he was fine with us moving in, pending referencing. So I did the referencing, and then the referencing agency went and said that we don't pay our rent, which isn't true. And the reason for this was actually the fault of Jersey and not them. So let me explain. Right, so on over here, if you're on income support from Social Security, as we are at the moment, the income support pay your rent directly to Andium Homes, who are, like I've said before, the Jersey equivalent of council housing. And then you get whatever's left. But because you get given your income support weekly, the income support payments get paid weekly as well. Because the income support payments get paid weekly, essentially they pay the rent weekly, right? That's the easiest way of saying it. I do apologise, it should have been much easier to explain. Rolling into the equation comes the fact that Andium Homes bill you monthly. So Andium Homes and the Social Security will not talk to any of the referencing agencies in the UK at all. They want nothing to do with any of them. The referencing agent this company was using tried to contact Andium Homes and Social Security multiple times by phone and email. Never got a response. So I sent them the appropriate paperwork to prove we pay our rent and how much we get coming in, etc. However, like I said, because the rent's paid weekly and the rent itself is charged monthly, it gets paid multiple times over a month. So the money, so your rent gets charged at the beginning on the 1st of every month, and then the Social Security will then pay it X amount each week, so that like you'll get 4 payments from the income support or Social Security, which then pays up your rent before it's due to have the next month added on. So you're never actually in arrears, it's just the way they pay it. Does anybody like pigeons? Lydia, who's with me, is terrified of birds, so she won't come here. Right? So, yeah. So when you look at it on the invoice piece of paper, which I sent them, it will say X amount rent, and then it will say X amount income support payment, and then, but next to it is, next to each income support payment, at least for the first 2 or 3, it says arrears, because technically you're in debt, but you're not in debt because it's going to be paid. And so the referencing agency didn't read through the entire 6 months they wanted. They just read the top where it said in arrears and didn't read the full thing to see the pattern of how it's actually paid, and it's paid weekly but billed monthly. Once I phoned them and I told them this, they apologized, they corrected it, and they then passed our referencing for us, and said that I marked it that we do pay our rent, albeit a unusual way, as is the way with Jersey. The problem came whereby, after seeing the initial failure of said referencing, the landlord changed his mind, which is fair enough. You're not going to want somebody in your house who doesn't pay their rent. I completely understand that. But then they corrected everything, put it right. The letting agency then went and explained to the landlord of the house what had happened. He didn't want to change his mind back again, which is his choice. I don't blame the landlord. I don't blame the letting agency or anything. But that's what's happened. So now we're supposed to be moving at the beginning of June, and no house to move to. So as a result, what we've ended up with is me phoning pretty much every single letting agency that I can throughout West and East Yorkshire, and actually one up in Cumbria in the little town of Kirkby Stephen, because I've always liked Kirkby Stephen. It's a very sweet little town, to see if we can find somewhere to live. And this has its own problem, because of course we can't afford to fly back over to the UK and physically view the properties, because if we were to do that, we wouldn't have enough money for furniture and stuff we have to buy, 6 months rent, etc. we have to pay in advance before when we got there. And a lot of the letting agencies don't want to rent to you if you haven't physically viewed the property. Pardon me, if you haven't physically viewed the property. Now, I have managed to find a few letting agencies that are willing to let me do like viewings over the internet, whether it be like pre-recorded videos or a Zoom call or whatever, and to them I'm very thankful, but I still have no guarantee I'm going to get anything. So it's all very much a long distance waiting game. If any of you guys know of anything about the rental system in the UK and have any ideas that may help our situation, do let me know. I'll also pass them on to other people if I can, to help others, because part of this whole moving process and filming and letting you guys know what's going on in these updates and stuff, as well as the moving to the UK specific ones, is to help people who are moving from Jersey to the UK or into the UK in general, because some of it's applicable regardless. Right, whilst we're here, I thought we'd have a look in the old market. So this has been open since the 1800s. It's not the first incarnation of the market. It was actually updated with a roof, because the original building of this market didn't have the roof. The roof was added later. as was the fountain. Now, if you're a child from like the 80s or even the 90s, or in case Lydia's case, even the early 2000s, you'll know this water fountain predominantly for having fish in it if you lived here. There are now no more fish because the states don't want to pay the upkeep for the fish. They've also taken away the bottom tier, and they never turn the top of the fountain on anymore because they say it's a waste of water. So the only thing you get is these bits here that are squirting out, and that bit, as far as I'm aware, someone was telling me, has actually been sealed off at the top, which is appalling. But you can see here the market hasn't changed an awful lot. My great-granddad had a stall in here called Whittingham Butchers. I've never been able to find out anything about it because nobody seems to remember that far back, because it would have been 1917, I suppose, into like the 1920s. Post office, if you're used to hearing who's no longer here, it's a Dally. And the other interesting thing about this is I don't think many people realise is that in the days where, well, before refrigeration, which is when this was built, obviously you did have butchers and things in here. And so a lot of the butchers would need to store their meat, keep them cool and stuff. And obviously without refrigeration, they needed another form of keeping it cool. So the Jersey market, although you can't see it, actually has cellars. Only certain places have access to the cellar. I know that the wine shop there, Corkscrew, has access to his cellar, which is why he doesn't need additional storage for his wine, because he keeps it nice and cool that way. And if you come up here, you can see here this kind of drainage system in the floor, and this is because all the market was originally split up into sections. You had the bakeries in one area, the butchers in another area, and so on. And this was the area where the butchers used to be. And these drains, once upon a time, were for draining away the blood as the butchers cut up the carcasses of the animals. Pardon me. So that's what those were for, and you can see the big drains. Obviously, I don't know, that's not going to be an original drain, but still. Right, so we're out onto French Lane. We're making our way around to an optician for Lydia. They're doing an awful lot of work over there at the moment on Halkett Street. So we're going to go back out here into Halkett Place, which we've already been on. But I need to work my way up anyway. But I thought I'd take a detour into the market and show you that. This again, deliveries are allowed down here for a limited time, and then French Lane gets shut off too. They put bollards in now. So, and for those of you who are from a fair way back, this Barber's, you may remember it being the lottery shop when they used to do the Jersey lottery. But that's going back some time. So yeah, back to the situation. Yeah, so I phoned a few people, and some of them have let me fill in application forms, pre-application forms, but a lot of it seems to depend on the landlord, which is fair enough. It's his house. The problem comes whereby we just don't know when we're going to get somewhere, essentially, so we don't know what we're doing. Everything's on hold. I'm a bit anxious and nervous at the situation, which isn't ideal if you're autistic either. Because the problem we have now is we're supposed to move at the beginning of June. Everything we own is in boxes. I can't sort out the removal company, who I also had to phone and tell them to cancel, postpone the moving, who were very nice about it. And that was fine. Motorbike. But the problem lies is that, like, I have to fill in this form for the HMRC, which takes like an hour, 4 days, sorry, anything from 4 days to 4 weeks to turn up. And until I've got a response from that, I can't take our stuff in, and that's if it goes through first time. I don't have an issue with it. And so, yeah, the whole thing's kind of stalled, and we're now in a limbo situation. We're still obviously saving for the actual move, which is why there was no video last week, because I had no diesel, so I couldn't actually drive anywhere to film anywhere for you. So my apologies for that. Also, whilst I'm talking to you guys and we're taking this stroll around town, what I thought I'd also do is show you a couple of other bits and pieces that most people don't realise are around. So, and a few questions as well, actually. So, like, was there any ever, because this marked now is private lane, right, down here. So this is Waterloo Lane. I've never known much about it. It doesn't seem to be a particularly predominant lane. Was it ever? I don't really know. So if you do know, let me know. Right, a lot of you from Jersey in the same kind of era as I was remember Helier, which is now owned by Voisin's, and it's just got a little plaque on it to mark it used to be Helier, and that's it, it's gone. There's nothing else to it, to be honest. So we'll go up this way. This is now Don Street. There used to be a shop on here called Jura Bookshop back in the day. My sister used to work in. That's gone. This was the former site of the Brennan's Longwire Furniture Shop, if you remember that. This building here. So, yeah, there's a few things I want to address as well. So, there's a gentleman who watches my videos regularly called Ron. I don't know where Ron lives, but he keeps asking me if I can show where Swanson's Hotel used to be. Now the problem with that is, I can, but there's not an awful lot of information on Swanson's Hotel floating about. There's some pictures of old adverts and things, but there's not. Then obviously I can find out dates of when it opened, when it shut, but that's it. There's no stories or anything to it, and there's nothing to see because it's part of the finance centre. So it's now pardon me, it's now the Jersey Finance building on the Esplanade, which is what it was turned into. And then of course you guys remember it used to be next to an old garage with like a Michelin man stood in the doorway. But that's why I haven't shown you the Swanson's Hotel, is because there's nothing really to show. It's just it's a finance building. So there's nothing to see. Now, in a video I said a while ago, and I apologise for the coughs, it's first thing in the morning. I've got quite a dry throat, and yeah, I keep coughing every now and again. Yeah, so you've got Waterloo Lane, this is the other end. It looks like it's never really been used, but I might be wrong. It's a private lane now, so you're not allowed to use it supposedly. I don't know. This used to be a cobbler's. It's been empty now for about 3 years. But yeah, I said a while ago, the most interesting parts of Jersey in town are if you look at the shops and you look up. Now, that holds true, and I still maintain it is true, but you tend to be on Main Street when you get there, because once you get into like this part of town, where like town's expanded outwards, you get these kind of buildings where they've knocked the original one down. But if you come round and you take a look like at the buildings around, like for instance here on Halkett Place, right, the old church there, which I believe is a Portuguese church now, and like the windows up there, see the Victorian windows, that kind of stuff. That's what I mean when if you look up, that's some of the most interesting things you can see. You can see how Fort Regent used to be able to look down over the parish as well. So it is worth a look. But then you get to some buildings like this one, where Specsavers and stuff are now, which isn't much to look at above. And that's when it was converted, I think in the 70s, because it used to be a Larishes, if you remember Larishes from back in the day, part of CI Traders and Channel Island Bakery and such. Pardon me. But yeah, so it's just really, so anyway, this video is kind of, like I say, just a little walk around and updating our situation, seeing if anyone can actually help us, as well as showing you a few bits and pieces around town as well. You can see here how they've got access ladders here at the minute, because they have been doing some maintenance on the roof of the market, which I was just showing you in before. I'm not sure how much they're doing. There was a thing going around where the states were considering, might have been about 10 years ago now, removing the roof. They said it costs too much to maintain. I don't think they'll do that anymore. And then another building that's changed in use over the years is this one here. So this is the Victoria Club, or was. It's not the Victoria Club anymore now, it's just a very posh restaurant called Banjo. But it was the Victoria Club once upon a time. But yeah, so yeah, it's an odd one. I know that I'm kind of speaking in bits and kind of everywhere, and I apologise, it's not my normal standard of video, but I thought I'd put one out because I thought it'd be useful for people moving. If they come across this snag, if anybody can help me, then it will help others as well. Otherwise, the next video I make, wherever that might be, I'll keep you in the loop as to how that's working out. But for now, I'm now just kind of waiting for application forms to be filled in. Hang on. And until those application forms are filled in, I have not much to go on. So what I'll do is sometime, probably Wednesday next week, I'll put up the little bunker video that's less than 10 minutes, because I don't know when I'm going to be able to do the other thing I was going to add on to it. And I want to put it out there for you guys, so I'll put that up. When I can next film, I don't know, because it's now become a situation whereby filming is limited to when I can afford the diesel and when I'm actually able to film, and the two have to meet. So that should be interesting. You can see here, see what I mean? That's a huge amount of work going in there. They will be paving it again. I don't know if it's still remaining the same. It looks like it is, because the sign hasn't changed. But you can still drive down Halkett Street at certain hours of the day, as long as you're a delivery driver. But that's the only reason you're allowed to drive up there, is if you're a delivery driver. So I don't know what exactly the story is. That was meant to be the rich man street. That was the original plan for Halkett Street. It was meant to be the rich man street, and it didn't work out that way. That's why you had Austin Reed and stuff on there once upon a time, but not anymore. Not anymore. So, because Austin Reed, as you'll be aware if you're in the UK anyway, went bankrupt in the UK quite a while ago now. I haven't worked for them since 2012. But by the time they did disappear, they didn't have the best name in the world. And I did find some of the stores, I had to talk to quite a lot of the stores. Certain stores weren't particularly polite to staff, so I can't imagine they were overly nice to the customers. And so we'll finish this video up here in West End, which is famous for the cows. Now, a lot of people will remember back in the day when Jersey was the tourist destination that it used to be, and you went tourist, it used to be here. So this clothing shop here wasn't originally a clothing shop. It actually was, once upon a time, was the offices of Sea-Link, where you used to be able to go and book your tickets to get a Sea-Link ferry to the UK. You used to have interlink ferries too at one point, called Channel Island ferries, which would go to all the different Channel Islands. You went to Jersey, Guernsey, Alderney, and you could go on day trips from Jersey to Alderney, Jersey to Guernsey, vice versa. You can't do that anymore, and a plane flight from Jersey to Alderney is extortionate. It's like, I think it's like about 300, I think last time I checked, it's like about 150 quid both ways for one person to fly from Jersey to Alderney, which is appalling. And it's not much cheaper to fly to Guernsey, and then you can get a ferry to Guernsey if you want, but there's no ferry to Alderney from Jersey, which is not good. This is something I need to do, but instead of kind of sorting out the what I've done to this, that's not interesting to look at. And it looks so battered. Look at that. That needs to be looked after. That's horrendous. This used to be the arcade. This used to be part of Leaders, but not anymore. And for anybody who said what a Jersey price is like now, I'm not going to show you like which letting agency this is, but the prices of some of these houses, I mean, I've got them here. They're like 3 million, 3.2 million, 745 pounds here for like a 4-bedroom house. It's mental. Right, so I will leave you guys in peace now. Have a nice weekend and week, whatever you get up to. Like I said, the bunker video will be out on Wednesday. I will hopefully be back next Sunday if I can actually get somewhere with another interesting video. Otherwise, I'll see you once it's possible to get out and film for the various reasons I mentioned before. And until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care of yourself.